From growing up in a home without electricity to leading ISRO S Somanath has come a long way. In the second part of the exclusive interview, the man behind Chandrayaan 3 and the week's Man of the Year talks about the progress of the human flight mission, collaborations with NASA, and the advantages of the Artemis Accords.
In everyone's professional journey, there will be certainly significant highs and lows. Was the successful mission of Chandrayaan 3 the pinnacle of your career?
I don't think so. See, it is just another milestone, but it has created such a impact, no? Because landing on the moon was difficult. There was earlier attempts of failure, and others were also not easily going there. And India doing it very nicely. It creates such a passion for everybody.
Was there any past event that gave you more satisfaction? One mission you can think of?
No, definitely the rocket GSLV Mark 3, which I was a project director, its first launch test vehicle mission was very, very complex. And I would have gone through sleepless nights on making that launch happen, much more than Chandrayaan 3. And for me, that is a fulfillment of than whatever I have achieved now. Because of that rocket, we could have Chandrayaan 3. Because of the rocket, we have the high capability today. And engineering that rocket in 10, 12 years of my work, that is really fantastic. As a personal contribution, I feel more. And again, later I developed the SSLV new rocket. It had a failure, first launch, and we achieved success. I can tell you my hand is there in almost every element of the rocket in terms of its design, engineering, planning, everything. So I feel more satisfied with that type of things.
And could you please recount a challenging moment or a low point in your career, like where you felt everything failed or anything like that?
Nothing in that way. In the official or personal, official life, I was, no, like everybody, I also faced highs and lows. I also faced lows, especially in career path, whether where you will go, what type of assignments you will get, whether you can be easily dumped. No, you understand that in a situation, whether you will not be chosen. I may not become the project director. I may not become the director. I may not become the chairman. Okay, everybody aspire to become a higher level. And if you find a potential that somebody is trying to push you away, there are cases in an organization that it can be happening. At times you feel disappointed, but I found that disappointments apart, things happen to make you to that level. So it is that invisible hand that push you to handle those tasks for me. So of course there were low points.
So I'm reiterating a quote of yours from a recent interview you gave. So it says like this: unless you challenge them, unless they feel insecure, they will not do a great job. Complacency is dangerous. So is there a technique for you to push people and bring out the best outcomes from them?
No, there is nothing like that. There is no need to push people. I think it's a wrong management tactic. It is best way is to inspire people. The pushing will they themselves will do. See, if you push them, they will when you are back, they will backside. They will tell something else. It's not going to be a sustaining model. The right model is to give them power, empower them. So my bosses did exactly the same to me. So I would like to do the same thing to others. But there were bosses who are pushy bosses. They were firing bosses. I also fire occasionally, but that is for a purpose. See, we make sure that we fire people with no anger. This is another technique which I have developed. Just after firing, you should be able to smile. Okay, this is one quality. Because you are doing it firing for a purpose, for a greater purpose. If you understand that, then it's okay for even firing. So I believed that my boss, Ramakrishnan, who I must always salute him, never ever fired. 20 years he was my boss. Never ever. He empowered us. He never questioned, why did you do that? Never ever. He said that if you are doing it, very good. You can do more. That is called empowering. And empowering makes you such a very phenomenal possibility. So I believe people are to be empowered.
So if a biographical film were to be created about your life, I can envision scenes where the main character delivers a motivating speech to his scientist colleagues before a major launch. But have you ever delivered such an inspiring address before a launch event?
Before a launch, we don't do anything. Of course, there are many stages in between. No, we don't handle people as group like to give inspiring talk. 2 days back, I gave a talk to my whole of the ISRO. It was transmitted. It's actually not 2 days back. Yesterday at 4 o'clock, I had a video live transmission to every centers. Basically, this is basically to see our vision forward, not an inspiration talk. So we do, of course, something like that, but not as part of a mission, because mission is a work which is thousands of people. By talking, you are not going to make it better. So you need to work with people, details, and details makes it successful, not by general talk. So that requires making sure right people are at the right place, looking at the right thing, giving the feedback at the right time. All there is interconnected things, small finer things. If you are attending to those finer aspect of people, then things will go well. But if you are looking at overall sense and talking and going, nothing is going to happen.
So, can you offer an overview of the current cybersecurity landscape and outline the specific challenges that ISRO encounters regarding the cyber threats? How have the frequency and sophistication of cyber attacks on ISRO evolved, and what measures the organization implemented to tackle these?
Yeah, we have a large amount of networks. We have networks which is connected, internal network which is called intranet. We have an external networks of various kinds. We have a launch process also. We have our dedicated networks. We have ground stations spread across all the globe. From all across the globe, data comes to our control center. So all of these are making, and satellites also. We have telemetry, telecommand networks, hundreds of networks, and this creates vulnerability. Because anybody can access this. So we make sure that there are physical and other cyber-based attack preventions are there. We keep the physical isolation of the internal networks. Where we do technical work is fully isolated. It's not connected to internet. But of course, there are some connections which occasionally happen for data transfer. That is taken care very personally by looking at the transaction traffic. There are problems, challenges in our networks. So we make a lot of guidelines and people to aware of all those things we do, and we deploy whatever best tools available today to handle it. But still there are vulnerabilities which is surveilled by various agencies, our own teams. We prepare people to handle all of this.
So the space scientists need to be vigilant against physical threats also. So how are you concerned about anything about that part also? Not just about you, but about your colleagues also.
I don't think that
So of course,
the space and other domains are equally critical. So I am not worried about any physical threat. No.
So the initial test vehicle mission for the Gaganyaan project took place on October 21st. 3 more test vehicle missions are planned to ensure the success of this ambitious mission. But could you please provide details regarding the progress made in preparing for human space flight?
See, we were trying to do this launch much earlier, but of course, due to various reasons, we couldn't achieve. Primarily out of the delays that happened in terms of engineering, in terms of procurement, in terms of the industry support, many things happened. Now we have scheduled it on 2025, the first human space flight mission. But before that, we have 20 major tests to be completed, which includes the test vehicle flights. And we are hoping that all these tests go successfully with the required outcome. Then 2025 launch is possible with a human. But before that, we have to conduct 3 more test vehicle abort missions. We have to conduct 3 more orbital missions to bring back crews, unmanned crew modules safely. And we have to develop many new technologies and qualify them. So hoping that all of this will go through. These 20 major tests are only major tests. The minor tests are in hundreds of numbers. So if you encounter many failures or non-conformances, then of course it can have an impact. But today I can tell you it's going at very, very fast pace in terms of engineering, and we have full grip on it. And we are not going to depend anybody from outside. As much possible, we want to do it within India.
So in an earlier interview with the week, you mentioned that ISRO is working over 1,500 new technologies. So could you please share with us some of the exciting technologies utilizing artificial intelligence in which ISRO is?
Artificial intelligence is only one form of technology, and artificial intelligence is somewhere where we have a data-driven decision-making process. So we have AI tools in many areas. Wherever there is a large amount of data, when machine learning takes place, and then artificial intelligence can be created out of data-driven scenarios. But core engineering is not always artificial intelligence. See, for example, you have to develop robotic operation in space. In that, robotic operations have to be designed, but implementing robotic operation can be an AI-based tool. But you have to first engineer the robotic activities. We are looking at how to refuel a satellite. We are looking how we can deorbit a dead satellite. We are looking at how a software-driven satellite can be built, which can be reprogrammable, and frequencies and footprints can be changed with the time. We are looking at how we can do additive manufacturing in space in various nature. We are looking at how docking and collaboration and assembly of big structures possible robotically in space. Um, like that.
How are we managing to bring out cheap technology? Cheap in the sense compared to US or other European powers.
Cost effective technology.
Cost effective, I would say.
Okay, what we say is in India, it's a natural process. In India, everything you do, you can do it at a substantially lower cost than in the Western, primarily coming out of the approaches that we take. First is in terms of design, we use a low cost approach. Can we use a design approach itself, which is more lean? Second is we look at model making, which is less in numbers. We look at simulations, which is more dominant than actual physical hardware testing. Then we reuse hardwares multiple times. Don't use it one test and throw away. We use it again, refurbish, reuse. See, for example, I tell you the one which you used for the test vehicle mission, which fell into the sea, I have brought back, I am going to clean it up, I am going to reassemble and reuse. In any other country, that would have gone to a museum. Here it will not go. So so that I say that few crores of rupees to spend on making it in my next mission. So my overall cost will come down. And again, our manufacturing cost and engineering cost are lower compared to many others. So many aspects that go into cost reduction.
So the Aditya L1 program, ISRO's inaugural solar mission, is projected to reach the L1 around mid-January 2024. How will this mission prove vital for the world? Also, will this data from Aditya mission be shared with major global research organizations, and how will it further elevate India's standing in the global space domain?
To study sun has been a very important activity for many spacefaring nations. There are many missions that have been done to study sun, the latest being the Parker Solar Probe of the US. There is a SOHO which they sent, and many missions went to look at sun more closely, because sun has so much influence on the climate, weather, especially the outer space. So primarily the sun is not a static body, it is a dynamic object having something called solar coronal emission. So the whole mission is looking at how solar emissions take place, how to help us to understand it, how to model it. And Aditya L1 is very unique satellite, and it has 7 instruments which are very in different regimes of observations. So we have a solar coronagraph, we have particle observations, 2 instruments, we have X-rays, soft and hard X-rays, we have magnetic measurements. So that means we are looking at the solar activity in various ways. So they are correlated measurements. So such a mission has never been there. So we have 7 instruments built by Indian scientists on board Aditya L1. And Aditya L1 is a very unique location. You can look at sun for continuously 24 hours, 24/7 basis. You can communicate with Earth also continuously. So this point is also very advantageous. So our objective is that our solar scientists in India, we have good number of scientists, and they will be able to find out the very good connection between the observations of solar coronal mass ejection, its mathematical modeling, its prediction of its influence on Earth's magnetic sphere, effects on communication networks, the effects on terrestrial communication networks, power bus, etc. etc.
So will this be shared with the?
Yeah, it will, all scientific mission data will be shared, but on a time-bound manner, not just like that freely.
So you mentioned the establishment of a new launch pad at Tuticorin that will enable ISRO to launch smaller rockets and accommodate private players also. In your role as chairman of ISRO and Space Secretary, what are the significant steps that have been taken to attract and integrate private entities into space technology?
This is a government announcement in 2020, opening of the space sector called Space Sector Reforms, enabled all this to happen. Okay, after I took over as chairman, my job was to implement it in fullest, creating the framework and policy, helping us to implement the space sector reform. So in 2023, we came out with a space policy, which clearly defines the roles and responsibility of all the entities in space, ISRO, DOS, and NSIL. We are also looking at how to help the private ecosystem to handle this. So as per the new policy, private can do anything in space, and Department of Space and ISRO should help them towards that. Public funded research outcomes should go to them. The facilities of ISRO should be shared with them, provided they are available. The InSpace as a regulator and authorizer is created to help the private people to build rockets, authorize rockets, launch rockets. So a lot of things are happening now. A lot of startups are coming into space, and we are helping them in various ways: technologies, facility sharing, advisors, authorizations, connect with industries, funding help. FDI, so many things are there.
So in which domains, like related to space technology, where we anticipate to see increased private investment in the coming years?
In every area. Okay, in fact we did a research through an agency, looked at how it can enhance. That study indicates that there could be substantial increase in the private investment in various spheres.
But certain fields will not
Will-
be accessible for the private.
No, it is accessible for everybody. The question of investment and profitability. The investment will be highest in the rocket building, second lowest in the satellite, and least in the application side. But the revenue generation and overall business will be higher in the application side. So what I expect is in the coming days, more and more application, space-based application, private companies will come up, like the remote sensing applications, imaging applications, communication applications, IoT applications, drone applications, like that, agriculture, weather, all of this. And already there are many companies who are helping, working in this domain in India. MapMy India, SatSure, Vasunthara, all these are new companies who have come up with reasonably good market evaluation. And there are also next set of companies which will come are satellite building companies. So there are a lot of companies like Pixel, Assista, like that. Okay, they Dhruva, all of them have started building their satellites.
Okay.
And same way with the rocket building as well. But rocket building, there are only two companies right away, which is showing promises. Others are discussing, like the Agnikul and Skyroot. Both of them have come up with a reasonably good design capabilities, strength, etc. And they are getting ready with small launches to launch.
So NASA was, very impressed by our Chandrayaan 3 success, and they were looking, for our cost effectiveness and to study that also. So, is there any talks happening about the technology transfer from here to there?
See, technology transfer is not the question that we are looking at, because technologies are being developed in US as well. In India, what we are looking is more of engineering, not the technology. See, what is the technology means? For example, a new chip development is a high-end technology, but utilizing the chip to produce a product is another end. So our Indian companies are good at that part. Make use of the new devices and get into more product engineering. So I am looking at that part more. But to do, for example, to do a new chip development, there are R&D companies, but the manufacturing cannot be still done in India because there are no foundries. So I am looking at greater technology access to Indian companies so that Indian companies can do better product engineering at a low cost, faster turnaround time, very competitive. That is the whole goal.
And this ExpoSat mission is a very ambitious mission from ISRO. So it is actually, my understanding is it's trying to get insights into emission mechanisms, that observed in celestial objects like black hole. And a lot of people have, even people coming from non-science background also have interest in this kind. But what are the kind of activities happening, and what is the current status of this whole project?
ExpoSat is an X-ray polarimeter satellite, which is observing pulsars, X-ray emitting stars, primarily the black holes which eat into other stars, and the mass it draws into itself and generates X-rays. So once you study them in polarimetry, you will be able to find out more details about such activity because it is not visible to you. They are in different domains, invisible domain. So once you look at in X-rays in polarimetry, then you can identify such activities taking place in black holes and black hole eating into live stars and such phenomena. So this is the whole purpose of it. For that very complex instrument, very sensitive instrument is designed, a polarimeter of X-ray, which is a very unique instrument, and that is carried in the satellite.
Earlier, these kind of research were all happening in the West, but now is it like more people are looking into India, like for these kind of inputs and outputs?
See, our goal is always to develop scientific pool within this country. It's not again Department of Space alone. We do with so many institutions in this country. For example, the Aditya L1, the primary instrument is made by Indian Institute of Astrophysics, which is a Department of Science and Technology lab. There is another center called IUCA, Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics, and we have connection with various other institutions, and also IITs, other national importance, institutes of national importance. So there are a lot of talent pool, scientist pool. So to build instrument, it is always difficult for anybody to engineer it, to do it, but you can work together to build it. For example, IAA, we built the solar chronograph. The whole engineering of the instrument is by IAA, but most of the items were built by ISRO and supplied, like mirrors, reflectors, sensors. Everything was done by ISRO and given. They overall engineered it. So a collaborative work if you do, then you can develop beautiful instruments.
Yeah. So talking about collaboration, so there is a major effort between ISRO and NASA, NISAR mission. So What is the anticipated launch date for this mission? And
No, we want to launch the beginning of the second quarter of next year, March, April timeframe. And satellite is currently fully integrated. It's undergoing the major test now. So getting ready almost.
And can you explain the objectives of this SpaceX mission and its potential significance in ISRO's pursuits for interplanetary travel?
SpaceX is an experiment to dock two satellites in space. So we will send two satellites. First, they will be connected. After reaching orbit, they will separate out, move around few kilometers away. Again, autonomously come together and dock each other. So docking, dedocking will be demonstrated. It's very crucial because if you have to do human space flight tomorrow, if you have to build a space station tomorrow, we must have ability to docking. And that docking is very automated process. We cannot control from ground. It has to do using sensors and algorithms. So we have created such capabilities now. The satellite is just getting final assembly going on. Next year beginning, we should be able to launch this SpaceX mission, which is a low-cost mission, very small satellites to do this experiment, and after that it will convert itself to some other experiment, so that money will be utilized for demonstration of technology.
So, the budget allocation for the space science has experienced notable growth in the last decade, but still it falls within the range of around 12,000 crore to 13,000 crore. In your perspective, what should be the ideal, budgetary allocation for the space research, given the ambitious goals in front of ISRO?
See, we never had any issue with the budget. Whatever money we asked from government, we always got. Even last year, we got more money and we were unable to spend the money. And this money goes in various headings. We give for salary, infrastructure maintenance, facility maintenance, research and projects. And most of the money was spent in projects, like building rockets and launching satellites. But that is only one part of the do. The core of us is technology development. And technology development had only very small money, 500 crores. That is the technology development money we are taking from government. And we want to increase it to few fold in the coming days and create more and more new technologies. So I am looking at how new technology projects can be initiated so that we can develop that core competence. So absolutely, we don't find any difficulty with money. The more technology we can propose, for example, we propose quantum satellite. Government is going to approve. We are looking at software-defined radio satellites. It will come. We are developing new materials. All money will come, and we don't need huge money for it.
And how crucial this lessons from the failure of Chandrayaan 2 was, like in the success of Chandrayaan 3? What are the kind of
It's only that failure of Chandrayaan 2 helped us in soft landing on Chandrayaan 3. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. See, we never ever test the whole Chandrayaan in the real moon environment. The first time we tested was in Chandrayaan 2, and we had a problem. Then based on the data, we understood what went wrong. Of course, there are some unknown errors, there were some known errors, there were some understanding gaps, there were some mistakes. All of them were there. So we understood all of them, we strengthened it, we did more tests, validated it. That's why Chandrayaan 3 became successful. So without that failure, achieving a perfect mission in the very first attempt is very difficult. Of course, we accomplished that in many cases. It all depends on how well we understood the whole, mathematically understanding the whole process. If you have some lack of understanding, it can create problem.
This was about India joined Artemis Accords with the United States. So this is about again some lunar exploration also. It's part of it, and there are big plans about it. So how it will what are the kind of advantages India will have by signing this accord? And
This accord is it's a non-binding agreement between United States and India. And this looks at not any commitment on any side. We say that that we will have a common way of exploring outer space and planets, and we'll create a framework on doing it. It has no commercial interest. Of course, America is developing the capability for moon mission like Artemis program, and Artemis Accord is a prelude to it. But I am looking at it from a point of view of joining a large movement of going to moon and creating a collaborative framework between so many countries. So, so many countries will come into it, and there are other movements as well going to moon. So, we need to be with some group of people who have an access to high technology, and our development in moon mission will also, in parallel with that, not at cross purpose. So, we will find a way. For example, when you design mission to moon, we will be able to operate our systems together. we can take help from together in case of contingency. In case of failure, there will be somebody to help you. So all these possibilities exist when you join such accords.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot for your time. All the very best for all your future endeavors also.
Thank you so much for your this interview, and it has been a great experience with you. Thank you so much.